Are you feeling really good? If not, perhaps it would be of help to get outside a little more often. I know it sure helps me, and that's something I don't do nearly enough, is get outside enough. And so I'll be talking to you about more about that when I come back. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Non-Monogamous Mark, and I'm the co-founder and executive director of Ethical and Consensual Non-Monogamous Lifestyles Association, ECNM Lifestyles Association. And we challenge the norm in society of monogamy, helping people to understand that over 20% of the population is non-monogamous, but they're deeply hidden in the closets like the gay people were over 50 years ago. And so we're helping to bring some social changes around to that. And at the same time, we're helping non-monogamous people to intentionally design and create lives that they thrive in, by where they connect with other non-monogamous people that are also thriving, and then we give them tools along the way to also thrive in their life. Well, so this is just one of those tools where we're on day 8 of our 14-day challenge of practicing feeling really good. You see, one of the things with ethical and consensual non-monogamous lifestyles is that when you decide to step out and be non-monogamous, that's a very intentional choice that you end up making. And what we do at ECNM Lifestyles Association is that we take and help you to use that intentional choice as a platform for the rest of your life as well. Not just take and have it be a platform for your sexual life or your relationships, but spread it to the rest of your life so that you can increase your abundance, your liberation, your freedom financially, with your health and fitness, with your relationships, and then your love and your sex life. But so we're on a 14-day challenge here where I'm challenging people to feel exceptionally good for 14 days in a row. And then every day I do a video to give you a little tip on how to maybe help you to feel really good for 14 days in a row. And one of the things that I know, I spend hours and hours inside, cooped up, working on a computer. And since I work at home, there are days where I don't even get to step outside the door in order to walk to the car to drive somewhere. And my office is at home. And so with that, I know myself that I don't get out nearly as much as I should. And there is just a huge amount of scientific data that's been collected out there, studies that have been done to show the benefits and just how beneficial it is getting outdoors more. And so I'm going to go over some of those benefits, and one of them is that exercise. It's been shown that the color greening, for some reason, of course the green that we see outside, they don't know quite why this is, but that color green stimulates our muscles and our bodies in a way that we seem to be able to exercise more without exerting ourselves at the same level as if we tried to do the same exercise inside. And so when you get outside and you exercise, of course exercising is good for our health, but it's just easier to exercise when you're outside, apparently. Then of course, compared to so many things that you do inside, when we oftentimes get together with friends, for instance, we'll go to a coffee shop or go to a bar or go to dinner and things of that nature. And, that's always enjoyable. But yet, when you take and spend time outside, or, even if not getting together with friends, just doing something for an afternoon on my own or with my partner, we may go, play pool or go bowling. And there's just, a long list of activities that are indoor activities that we enjoy doing. And yet, when you go outdoors, oftentimes the activities are so much more enjoyable and the benefits are so much greater to you. And the cost, well, if you want to save yourself a little bit of money, then do more activities outdoors. Now, don't limit your activities to doing them outdoors only when the weather is just prime for being outdoors. They've done a lot of studies on this, found that, like I'm in Seattle right now, and it's rainy, it's cold out, it's wet outside, but yet there are so many more benefits to your health and your well-being this time of the year by getting outside into the elements. And even if it's raining a little bit, just put some clothing on to be able to take and enjoy that outdoor without having to be miserable in it. And so put the right amount of clothing. I love to go snowshoeing in the winter. And that's something that years ago I just thought, oh man, I hate getting cold. And I didn't want to, go out and try something like that and get cold because I had it stuck in my head that I was going to get cold. Well, the first time out, I went snowshoeing. I just absolutely fell in love with the sport. And now I just love to get out and go snowshoeing, but I don't do that often enough. And it's something that I'm going to have to work on doing a little more often. And of course, then when you're out there in the winter months and the cold, there seems to be something they don't know exactly why, but they've done studies that indicate that it's actually you get more health benefits from being out in the colder elements than you do the really hot elements. Now, it also one of the fun things is being out is if you don't go out to isolate yourself, you're going to go and hike out where there's nobody else at. But when you're going out out in whether it be just walking down the street or going for a mile or 2 or 3 or 4 mile walk, going for a bicycle ride, or going out into the mountains or going to the beach, if you do that where other people are doing things, then they found that, and studies have been done, is it helps you to increase your social skills and your confidence. And I know that when I'm out hiking, hikers, they greet each other. When I'm out biking, oftentimes I'll stop and I've been out biking on day rides where I've stopped and people in their houses have come out to chat and visit with me. And so it's really a phenomenal thing. So you increase your social skills, and also it has a tendency of building confidence in person. And then, of course, also getting outdoors. It's a great way to get together with friends. Plan a hike with friends, or plan a day at the beach with friends, or plan a bicycle ride, or just plan to go out for a walk with friends. But do outdoor activities with your friends. And I'll tell you what, it's a great thing when you can go outside and do outdoor activities. And then at the end of your activities, then you come inside and spend a little bedroom fun time with your friends. And it can be a really fun time, inside and outside. Now, one of the things is that there's a whole list of things that seems that outdoor activities increases. And so I'm just going to read down the short list that I made, and because I think these are great reasons to get outdoors. And these will help you to feel better. But it increases your brain functions, increases your concentration, increases your creativity, increases your short-term memory. It decreases mental fatigue and increases mental energy. It improves your vision. Apparently, there's some link with they don't know exactly what does this, but nearsightedness, and so people who spend more time outdoors have less of an issue with nearsightedness. It'll boost spending time outdoors will boost your immune system, and also it'll increase your self-esteem. And I know I spend time outdoors, and one of the things that I love to go to the nude beach when I'm in California and the temperatures are right. I just love going to the nude beach, and that really does increase your self-esteem because you realize that you can be comfortable and be proud of being in your own skin. Now, everybody knows that one of the best sources for vitamin D is the sunlight. Vitamin D is a hormone. It's not actually a vitamin, but it's a hormone that really works with many different things in our bodies. And one of the most important things is that it has a tendency of reducing inflammation in our bodies. And, if you've ever sat in your office chair or home on the couch or in the car and you felt some joint pain or muscle pain, that's most likely is from inflammation. And vitamin D is one of the best natural known sources of reducing inflammation. And there's many other things that hormone does as well. And so that's where you're going to get your dose of vitamin D is outside. And people, they find that as people age, people who spend more time outside, they live longer and they have more function in their body and in their life, their mind. It just stays sharper, and your whole body and your life just functions better, and it functions longer. And people, they have a tendency of spending time outdoors regularly, then they have longer lives as well. And so I think personally that's a great reason to get outdoors. Spending time outdoors will lower your heart rate and it'll lower your stress, your depression, your anxiety. These are all associated with mental, except for the heart rate, but your stress, your depression, your anxiety. You know, and one of the things that they've studied a little bit about is that there's a link somewhere, somehow, about if you get out in nature where there's trees and maybe a pine forest, that it's the sometimes there's a link somehow that smell of those trees is what helps you to reduce your stress and your anxiety and your depression and just makes you feel good. And then there's all of the other smells that are in the air outside as well. They're just starting to do some of these studies and finding that, yes, these smells that you don't get inside that are outdoors are often, they're very healthy for you. Unless you're trying to walk or jog or ride a bike or something like that alongside of a freeway, and you're taking in a lot of exhaust fumes. That's not going to be good. But other than that, if you're getting out in nature, whether it be a park or you're getting out at the beach, at the ocean, or at a lake somewhere, or a river or a stream, or you're going for a hike in the woods, all of these things that you'll take in smells out there, and those smells contribute a lot to your mental health. And again, they're just starting to study that, but they found some clear links. And that's maybe also why they haven't said this, but as to why that it's the smells on this, but that people who spend more time outdoors have a tendency to have a more positive, more upbeat, and optimistic mood and outlook on life as a whole. Their ability to cope with stress is a lot greater. They don't seem to get impatient as easily as people who spend a lot of time indoors. Interestingly enough, studies that have been done about how much we have lost our time outdoors. In other words, they find that people now, they've got a number, and I forget what that number was. I haven't seen this. I read this information about 6 months ago. The amount of time that people spend outdoors, and it was all broke down by age groups. Children it's terrible what's happening with children because they don't spend any time outdoors almost. And but then it's no better for the adults either. And the time that adults spend, from back 40 years ago and 30 years ago and 20 years ago and even 10 years ago, it's a situation that's getting worse and worse. And so that's a situation where it's decreasing. And I know myself, I need to go ahead and pay more attention to this and start to turn that around. And this is what I refer to as my trajectory. And I want to get my trajectory going up where I'm spending more time outdoors instead of less time outdoors. And so I encourage you to do the same thing. Be spending more time outdoors. Whether that be just going out for a morning walk or an afternoon walk or a lunch break walk. But on the weekends, try to get out where you'll get out in nature. Because they've also done studies, and they found that just going out for a walk in the urban settings and what have you, yes, that's very beneficial. However, these benefits that I'm talking about are all magnified. They'll be like 4 or 5 times more beneficial when you get out to where there's a forest and out in nature and so forth. And again, may have something to do with the smells. Something else they're just now starting to study and look into is the negative grounding of the earth. People go outside and actually spend time where they lay on the ground or they walk barefoot. It has something to do with the skin contacting the negative charge and elements that come from the earth, that there's health benefits, and it just helps people feel grounded and feel calm, and they're just now starting to look into that, and saying that there's really is something to this of being able to be out there barefoot or being able to lay on the grass, for instance, and lay on dirt, and so that's all beneficial as well. And so then the one thing too is whenever I've experienced this so many times, when I'm out and about, outside and just enjoying my time outside, my mind is more creative, and that's oftentimes where I get inspiration from, and I find inspiration. And so one of the things that we talk about with creating your life, your sexually liberated, ethically and consensually non-monogamous lifestyle, and intentionally creating that is to create a life where you're inspired to live your life not where you're trying to go from a what we call a push, where you're trying to motivate yourself to do something, but it's where a pull or where you're feeling pulled, and that pulling comes from inspiration. And when they found that being outdoors inspires people, and so you'll increase the level and the amount of inspiration you have. They've also they're not sure about this, and so I can't make them say that this is where it's the evidence has supports this, but they're looking into it, and it seems to be that there may also be something that goes on outside where it stimulate being outdoors stimulates anti-cancer proteins in your body, and being indoors it doesn't do that. And so to be able to help your body stay cancer free, being outdoors, they're doing some studies right now, but it may show that being outdoors will stimulate anti-cancer proteins that basically kill cancer in your body and defend your body from cancer. And those are some very interesting studies that are being done right now. And so I think it's well documented and well researched that there's enough reason to go outside without that benefit, but if that shows there'd be some real benefits, there's some added benefit there as well. So what kinds of things, there's all kinds of things that you can do, of course, outside, hiking and biking, going to the beach like I mentioned, just taking a walk. If you can take a walk and maybe drive to a park that's 10, 15, 20 minutes away, then drive to the park and walk in the park. One of the things that I like to do is I like to explore the parks in my area. How often have you made or have you ever made a list of the parks in your city and then said, I'm going to take and explore these parks and find out what these parks are like and why they've got made as a park. And so try exploring some of these parks. Some other things, like I know Kathy, which oftentimes she'll go ahead and she'll have a meal out in front of our place where we live in Ventura, California, if the sun is out and so forth. And so we're going to be doing more of that as well. But just eating a meal outside can be also a very good activity. Just go out instead of eating your meal sitting inside your house, take your food out and just sit outside your house and eat that meal. And that can be a great way to get some of those outdoor benefits as well. And another great thing to do is to volunteer outdoors. And if you have a hard time getting yourself to where you're scheduled, or you take the time to get outdoors, then start to do some volunteer work that'll take you outdoors once a week or once a month, whatever you can work in. Again, the more you can get outdoor, then the more benefits that you're going to get from that. And so another thing is to read a book instead of sitting inside a house, or wherever you're going to sit and read a book. Set yourself up something that's comfortable where you can go outside and read a book. Or if you live close to the mountain or close to the park or close to the beach, go outside and go to the park, the beach, the mountain, and just read your book there. That's a great activity. Just again, all of those benefits start to come to you just from being outside, and the more you can be, the closer you can be to nature, the more you'll benefit. And so I like going to the nude beach. I mentioned that, and you can also go to a clothed beach if you want to. And of course, that's when the temperatures are a little warmer. And so the point here is to really start spending time and make it a priority to get outside. And you'll find that you start feeling better. Not only you start feeling better, it's emotionally, mentally, physically. And when you feel emotionally, mentally, and physically, you start feeling good, guess what? You're going to feel really good. That's the point of our 14-day challenge right now. And so just start setting yourself some goals and make yourself a plan right here today and start figuring out how you're going to start spending more time outside. So thanks a lot, and if you want to know more about ECNM lifestyles and keep on track of Non-Monogamous Mark and things that I do and we do through the association, then go ahead and click on that link in the description. That'll take you to a page where we're usually offer you something for free to get on our email list. But then get on that email list and keep in touch with us, and we appreciate your taking and hanging out with us, and we'll spend a little time with us here today. So until the next video then I'll see you on the next one. Bye.